This is Robyn Leslie with OnlyTheInspired.com, and I have the beautiful Charissa Quade here today, and she's going to talk about your finances. And some of us, that's an area that we just kind of wing it, and there's no planning, or we get so overwhelmed and we get stuck. And so she is going to help us today. So, Miss Charissa, in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Hi, Robyn. Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to be here. I am Charissa, and I run changeyourfinances.com, where I help women overcome money struggles, gain financial peace, and do this with a biblical perspective so that they can handle their money with confidence, they can have peace of mind about it, and they can really take care of their families and make an impact in their communities. And so I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years, I guess 5 years now, and it's just amazing to see the women who come to me just like I used to be, all scared and stressed out and overwhelmed about money, and then apply the steps that I teach them and use the tools that I have, and now they're confidently handling their money with peace of mind, and that transformation is just so exciting. So that's what I do, that's what I love to do, and I love to help these women.
That's awesome. And you said you've helped over 1,500 women get a handle on their finances. And, sometimes we don't really pay that much attention, but it's the number one reason for divorce.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it is a really big thing that we have to talk about. And sometimes we don't learn that anywhere. We learn it on our own, and it doesn't necessarily help. So how did you get started in that? What was the event or the series of events that kind of took you there? Because you are a sign language interpreter also, right?
I am, yes. And early on in my marriage, I remember being in the grocery store right next to the flour and the chocolate chips, and I was in tears because I had just counted up my grocery cart and realized I had overspent again. And I was so stressed out about money and so scared about money, and I just wanted to provide for my family. But I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like such a failure. And so in addition to this, as a sign language interpreter, I was also putting my husband through school. And so it all fell upon me. We both had debt. I had my car loan. He had his credit cards, his student loans. And I was the only one supporting my family. And all things money and budgeting totally made me panic and stressed me out. And I just felt like such a failure. But here's the thing that really got me is, despite all of that stress and chaos about money, I had this small little dream to see my husband graduate debt-free.
Oh, yay.
Now, Robyn, I have to be honest, I had no idea how this was going to happen because money was super tight. The debt we had was 20% of my income. And then I had to figure out how to pay for school so we didn't incur any more debt, because I didn't want to be trapped for years and years paying it back after he graduated. So that's kind of where it all started. And a couple years later, I was messing around with my money, and I realized if I could find a couple $100s, we could be debt free by the end of the day. And so I called my husband in because it was his student loan. And as he hit submit payment and I watched those numbers drop to zero, I didn't realize what a life-changing moment that would be. Now, I'm still scared about money at this point, but the fear of being stuck, still not being able to make our money dreams happen, still not being able to have savings in the bank, all of those things made me face the fear of handling money. And so I decided to dive into how to handle it wisely, how to figure out how to actually manage it. And what I learned started working. I was able to not only get control of my money, have a budget that actually worked finally, but over the next few years, I was able to turn around and save up $79,775 to pay cash for the rest of my husband's education. And so what happened was all my friends and family were like, how'd you pay off the debt, Charissa? How are you paying for school? How are you doing this money thing? And can you help me? And so I love to learn something and pass it right along. So I was passing on these tips, and it worked for them. And I saw that what I learned, it didn't only just work for me, but these tips worked for these other women, friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Pay off debt, to have a budget for the first time, to save money. And so at that point, I dedicated my life to helping women who are in the same place that I was, scared and stressed out and overwhelmed about money, to helping gain confidence and peace of mind with their money.
Oh, that is awesome. It is such a stressful thing when you're in debt or barely scraping by. And I've been there at the grocery store, and you're doing the math as you're going, as you're putting something in your cart, you're adding it up. And then there has been a few times where I've been at the check stand and been short. Is like, mm-hmm. Can you take that off? Can you take that off? And you're doing that in front of your kids. You're doing that in front of the other people in line. And it's one of the most humiliating things that you could go through. And that's just basic food wise. But yeah, the stress about money could be so overwhelming. And there's a lot of people going to school and they have that debt, and it does linger for years after you actually graduate. And so I think that's a blessing what you're doing. And it's awesome that, what you tried, is helping everybody else. That's awesome. So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
I would love to see 100,000 women find freedom with their finances, find peace of mind, because these women are already doing an amazing job. They just don't feel like it, and they don't feel like it with finances. But I want to give them the tools and resources so that they can, one, just continue to be even more of the incredible women that they already are, and take care of their families, which all of us, that's our heart's desire, is to take care of our family and to have a better future for them. But then also, when you get your finances under control, when you don't have the debt, when you have money in savings, when you can breathe, you're able to use those gifts that God has given you and make an impact in your community. And that's what I want to see happen. And I want to do it for 100,000 women.
Awesome. Well, and not only the 100,000 women. So when you teach somebody a tool like that, they could then, obviously it affects their kids. They could teach their kids. And so that could be a ripple effect of millions of people down the road, because once you learn that valuable skill, then, we're going to want to teach our kids. Let's make sure you don't get straight into debt right out of, right after you move out of the house, because you want the new stereo, the new car, the new furniture, and, start your life off and just with this huge weight. So it's not only those 100,000 women, it's all of their kids and friends. And I love that. That's awesome. So what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your competition? And I'm not a competition girl, I'm more of a collaboration girl, but we all have different perspectives. So what perspective do you think that you have that differs a little?
One thing that I really have leaned into is how to handle money using wisdom from the Bible. And that's definitely something that I don't see a lot of other personal finance coaches do. Mm-hmm. But I also break it down into simple steps that anyone can follow, because I've been there. I've been buried under mountains of debt. I've had little to no savings. I've been so stressed. So I can really relate. And a lot of the women who follow me are like, Charissa, you're so encouraging about money. And that cheerleading, that encouragement has helped me be able to apply the steps that you teach. And so I really want to come at it with a heart that you're already doing an amazing job. Here's some tools to help you do that job even better. And you can do it, because money management is a skill that we can all learn. And then I share the principles that I've learned from the Bible about handling money. So that's what really makes me different and sets me apart from other personal finance coaches.
And I like that. Well, and it's not, and I love that you know that you're faith-based, and that's something that you need to, portray right in the beginning, because that is your tribe where you could feel comfortable talking about that, and you're going to attract those perfect people that it's like, I want to learn from you because of that. And not only, with your saying you're already doing a good job, we might be doing all the right things, but if our money's upside down, we're thinking we're not doing a good job. And it's just getting those tools in order. And yeah. And that's a wonderful thing to tell people. You're doing the right things. Your finances might not show it, but then we haven't been educated. There's economics in high school, but that doesn't teach us anything. It doesn't teach the kids how to budget. It doesn't teach any of that.
Well, and you hit on a really good point. So many of us haven't had the education from our families, from our teachers. And then we're having all this pressure on ourselves that we should be doing all these things. And we beat ourselves up and feel like such a failure because we're not. And look at it. You may not have had the education, or the people around you, they may not be handling their money well. And so they've been telling you what to do. And you look at them and you're like, but it's not working. So, to get past that and move aside and say, you know what? It's a skill. None of us were born with, but it's something I can learn, and it's something I can improve. And I'm still learning and improving myself. So it's not something that, because we've made money mistakes in the past, which, hello, we all have.
We all have.
That doesn't define who you are, and that doesn't define what your future will look like.
Right. It's just, it's just a result of lack of education, basically, or bad decisions that you made, or, possibly really good decisions that just kind of culminated, accumulated, stuff happens, your car breaks down, and, and we all get derailed. We all get derailed off of that cycle sometimes. But I think education is such a huge, important thing that we all have to go through, and most of us have to do it on our own, just like you did. I have to figure this out. This is an issue for me. Let's figure it out. And so I love that you figured it out, and it's like, here's how you could follow in my footsteps, and be debt free and all that kind of stuff. So what's the hardest thing that you've had to overcome when starting your business?
I think the hardest thing was really knowing how to market and marketing well, and speaking the language of my customers, and to enter into their world. And so that's been a huge learning curve. I didn't have any business or marketing or any classes that I've went through in school. And so a lot of it's been learning from coaches, from courses myself. And that's taken me a while. So if you're starting out in business, I would definitely recommend finding somebody who has a good, solid understanding of sales and marketing, and is doing well at it, and has a system that you can follow.
Right. Well, and what you said about you being in the grocery store, that is the language that so many women have. We've been in that spot. I connected with that story because I've been in that spot in the grocery store. Is like, and so that is the perfect language, because there's so many of us that have been through that, and you're humiliated. You don't have the food, and your kids want to throw stuff in the basket, and you got to say, no, we can't get it. And, and it's, that is something that so many people go through. But yes, and your mess is your message, right? And that's why you are teaching what you're teaching now, because that was a mess for you, and it's something you didn't want to do. So yeah, finding the commonality, finding that that so many people have been through. So, and it sounds like you do have the support, but this is a big question. A lot of people have it, a lot of people don't. So do you have the support network of friends and family encouraging you to do this, that are backing you up? Or are you doing this? It's like, this is something I believe I have to do, and I'm doing it no matter what anybody says.
I would say a little bit of both. I do have very supportive friends and family. They love what I do, and they're very encouraging. I don't think most of them understand the owning a business and what goes on behind the scenes and all the things that I do with it and with the vision I have for my business. So that's one thing where I have gone and been intentional about joining other business coaching groups, learning from mentors, finding networking online with other business owners, and talking with ideas, because that's a community that can understand all the things. My family may be like, yay, go Charissa, Carissa's awesome. And, you know, my mom will share it on her Facebook post or whatever, and which is great, but they don't all understand what you go through as a business owner. So even though you have supportive family and friends, if they don't understand, reach out to find a business community that does. Now, I also feel like this is something that a mission that God has given me. And so I will do it. You know, I have been doing it for 5 years, and I will continue until my mission is over, because I do see so many women who are struggling with their finances, and it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't have to be that way. And I appreciate what you said. Yeah, so you might have friends and family that go, you know, good idea, you know, go for it, you know. But to actually be able to talk to them and say, you know, I'm trying to create my sales funnel, I'm trying to, you know, come up with this marketing. You really need to be able to talk to like-minded people, and that is one of the reasons I feel, and I feel it was one of the things that was given to me for the Only the Inspired. For one, I was one of those. I'd go to the Tony Robbins event and come home, and I'm just excited about life, and nobody around me understood. No, I couldn't talk to any of them about that. And there's a huge amount of us that don't have that support, or people around us in our physical world don't get it. And so you want to be able to connect with those like-minded people where you could brainstorm and get bigger and bigger ideas. And I think that community part is super important, and I love that. And yeah, so you can do it with just the support of family, but unless you seek out that tribe, it's going to be lonely, and you're kind of doing it all on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When there's so much out there, so many, I mean, different mentors. I might connect with one that you can't stand, but there's so many people out there who've already done a incredible business. They already have all of these results. Why are you creating the wheel again? Just learn and get in somebody's shadow and learn from them, so that you have the shortcuts, that you have the time saved, the money saved, and you can get the results faster.
And that's also what you're doing for people with their financing.
Absolutely.
You know, where their finances is, you've done the work. Now I don't have to do the work. I just need to listen to what you're saying, because I know you've done the work and you've helped so many people. So what is your favorite thing about your business?
I love connecting with my women. I love seeing their transformation from being scared and stressed out and overwhelmed to following what I teach, to using the tools that I teach, and then coming back and saying, oh my gosh, Charissa, that has changed my life. I used to think money was super scary, and I was always worried something was going to happen. And now I have a plan. I don't have debt, and I have money in the bank. And so seeing that transformation and really connecting with people. I love doing video. I love interacting, but I also email and respond back to DMs, you know, so people can reach out to me, because I know money can be a scary thing. And I want you to know that I'm in your corner, and that I know you can do it. And so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that happens. And it's not really about my products. It's not really about what I teach. It's just really about seeing these women and their lives transformed. And as they transform, like their family relationships are so much better. Like they have ability to reach out and to be a blessing to those around them, to share the gifts that they've been given. And it is a ripple effect, like you said. And that's the thing that excites me the most, is seeing that.
Well, and just getting out of the debt into financial freedom, the stress level goes down. That, you know, the whole inner peace just with them goes down, and their family, and so there's so many benefits. And you know, people have weird ideas about money. Money is a tool. And it could be a crutch, but then it could be a blessing, and you know, you could get to that place where then now you could give to charitable things that you want to do and help the others that can't do it on their own. And once you're out of the scarcity, out of the debt and the pressure, then you're free to be able to help others, and it just blossoms from there. Just to see the relief on the women's faces, that's got to be so helpful. So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
Well, I am passionate about money and budgeting, but I'm also passionate about people and connecting with people. And there's something that's on my heart is foster care and also kids. And so one of my dreams on the back end of that 100,000 women that I want to impact is I want to really bring financial literacy to kids in high school, to kids in foster care as well. So those are things that are super passionate for me, but I just love my family. I love relationships, and those are things that really light my fire.
Yay. So who inspires you? Do you have a role model, somebody you've always looked up to?
I have followed my business coach, Jennifer Allwood, for about 3 years now, and I just really love how she handles business. She's a faith-based business owner, but she's very successful at her business, and I really admire how she has built a successful business, but has always kept God first and family second, and then her business third. And that's a model that I want to incorporate into my own life. So that would be one person that really inspires me.
Good. And I think I've heard that name before. I'm quite sure I've heard her name before. Jennifer Allwood, huh? So here's a big question. So if you could leave one tip or a golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you got to say to them and your only chance to say it, what would you say?
I would say that you can do it. Even if you're scared about money, even if there's a lot of debt and you feel like there's no way that it will ever get paid off, or you will never have savings, this can all change. You already have the tools. You already have what it takes inside you to be able to do it. And you just need a simple system to follow, because it really is simple. It's small little changes. It's like if I'm here in Phoenix, and if I were to get on a plane to go to Chicago, but the pilot made one small little change in the course, I'm going to end up in Atlanta. The same thing with your money. You can make small little changes today, and you can have a completely different financial future for your family and for your kids. And so that's one thing that I would leave with them and encourage them. But I also want to share one more thing. Okay. One of the proudest moments of my entire life, I was sitting there in the crowded stands, air horns are blowing, watching my husband in his cap and gown walk across that stage, completely debt-free.
Yay.
We had done it. We had paid off our debt. We had saved up and paid cash for the rest of his school. And along the way, I had overcome the fear of money, the panic that I felt, the fear of failure, sense of failure with money. And I was now able to handle my money with peace of mind and have confidence in it. And if I can do this, you guys can too.
So I'm curious, how long was it from the time at the grocery store or when you really started researching to when you were able to pay everything off? So some people might be thinking this is just a 15, 20 year long thing, and I don't think it necessarily is that way.
No, I'm trying to remember exactly. I would say it was within the first 6 months of me being married that I was really stressed and crying in the grocery store. And then we ended up paying off our debt within 2 years. So just 2 months shy of our second anniversary. And now we had a smaller number. We had 7,665, I think. But I really didn't have a plan to pay it off, and money was super tight, and we were paying a lot for school. But what I've seen work is, now that I know better, on having a simple plan to pay off debt that I teach, these women are getting tens of thousands of dollars of debt paid off in like 3, 4, 5 years, which is just incredible. So if you are feeling like it's going to take you forever, it won't. Let me tell you something. Don't look at that minimum payment and the length of time on your credit card statement before it's going to get paid off. Ignore that. Have a simple plan. I teach you how to set up your debt smallest to largest. So you just pay one and pay the smallest one, and you get those emotional wins that tell your brain, hey, I can do this. Hey, I'm making progress. Let me figure out other ways that I can either cut expenses or put more income towards it or whatever. But if you are really motivated and you have a simple plan to follow, you can get that debt paid off, even if it is $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, whatever, in a few short years. It doesn't have to be like for the rest of my life, I'm going to be, no. We're putting a stop to it.
I think that is super good for people to know, because, when they're feeling overwhelmed and feeling like they're barely paying their bills, they might not be able to fathom that in a couple of years that they could be debt free.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is super good to know. I'm glad you shared that. So I know you have a giveaway. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before you explain what that is?
Well, I think explaining what my giveaway is, my freebie is, and also it ties into what I have to say, is that being intentional with your money and having an intentional plan, aka a budget, where a budget is not crumpling all your receipts into a pile and then trying to figure out these faded numbers where your money went to for the last who knows how long, which is what I did when I started. And it was stressful. That's not budgeting. Budgeting is a simple plan for your money ahead of time. And this gives you control. It tells you where your money is going, and it tells you any areas you need to focus on. And with this plan, you're able to, actually have that money that you're like, oh, I have lots of money I'll put towards debt. I have lots of money I'll put towards savings. And then you get to the end of the month and no money for groceries, and who knows where that money for debt and savings went to. Not with the plan that I give you. In fact, the worksheet that I give you is a prioritized budget worksheet, and it just walks you through this. But it sets it up so that you have 4 things taken care of. You have food first, lights and water, housing, and transportation. And then when those things are taken care of, a ton of money stress goes away because your family's needs are taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Then everything else is in order of priority, and including any debt goals or any savings goals. And then you are intentionally telling your money where to go, and it's super easy to stick to. And so that's what I want to tell you is, really, if you want to pay off debt, whether it's paying off debt or whether it's saving a bunch of money, you need to have an intentional plan for your money, because that will make it possible for either one of those to happen, even if you feel like you don't have a lot of money. A lot of times, a lot of the women go through this worksheet and they come back and they say, I feel like I have more money than I thought I did, because now I know where it's going. And if there's an area where you're grossly overspending, it's obvious where you can cut back. And I have a super simple way to cut it back so you don't feel deprived. But this worksheet, it's really this prioritized budget, this method that I teach, it's been foundational in all of my success with money and then all of the success of the women that I've helped, just because it lays it out so simple and it's super easy to stick to, and you actually can stick to it and get the results you want.
Great. And so that's is that the prioritized budget worksheet that you're offering?
Correct. Yes. And that's a free gift to you guys. It's at changeyourfinances.com/onlytheinspired. And and so it's a special gift for you guys, and I hope you come over and get that, because that really does make a huge difference.
And so it's just an opt-in form on that page where name and email, and then you'll email it to them. Mm-hmm. So again, that's changeyourfinances.com/onlytheinspired, and go there and get that worksheet. And that's just the beginning of, what you need to do to get your finances in order. And I'm going to go over there and get it myself because, we all have our own, idea of what's going to work, and finances not so much at the moment, but in the past just consumed me, and I don't want to ever be there again. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people that feel that way also. And so any little tools that you could get, and then get to know Charissa and possibly join her trainings and have her help you. Yeah, wouldn't it be wonderful to be debt free in a couple years? That'd be awesome. And to be able to pay for college cash. So what did he go to college for? I'm curious.
He became a software engineer.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Very cool. And he might have been one of the only ones that was debt free when he walked across that stage.
There's a really high chance, because student loans are out of control, But you don't have to, whether you have started college and you've already taken out loans. We did. I mean, you can stop now and pay for cash for the rest of it. Or if you have somebody that is going to college soon, a child or something, then there are ways that you can pay cash for it. You don't have to be buried under all of those student loans when you graduate. It's not widely talked about, but it is definitely possible.
Great. Awesome. I appreciate you so much for sharing that. And I think you have a great gift for helping people, because that is one of the most important things in life is, going through life without that stress of the money. And it's just a tool, but teaching people how to do that, because there's lack of that education, big time. So thank you very much, Charissa, for being here. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you, and make sure that you share this video if you know that there's people that need to hear this. Go to changeyourfinances.com/onlytheinspired to get your free little worksheet, and make sure that you share this, because if we could all be financially secure, we're all going to be happier. There'll be so much less stress in the world just by the whole finance thing. So thank you very, very much for being here. Share the video, and we will see you guys later.